Yeah, let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. So today's topic on webinar today, we would be doing a refresher training on two modules, which is annexure and checkpoint. So annexure and checkpoint, reason why we have taken annexure and checkpoint module is these are the very important modules in Audit 360, and actually one of the initial step before we even do the configure audit. So even before we do configure the audit types, we would need the annexure and checkpoints made ready. So I would be covering the annexure and checkpoint module for today. Today Santosh is not there, so in his absence I will be taking over all the question, and I'll be answering you all. So if there are any queries, request you all to please put your questions or on the or in the chat window. So in between my demonstration, I would pick those questions and I'll answer all the questions raised by us. And more over and above that, once the webinar demonstration is done, we will also allow time where you can share your queries as well. So let me continue with the current webinar or the refresher modules. So first is annexure, and because annexure and checkpoints are interlinked, what I would do is in a single demonstration, I would cover both these modules. First, I'll start with how an annexure is be created, and more or less the general or a annexure checkpoint creation is similar. So I would club both of this demonstration into single, and I will take you all through here. So let us see what is annexure. So annexure is a module where where we have to do a certain set of checks at a different sample level. So usually when we have any audits which is being planned or which has to be executed, we will have a list of questionnaire or list of processes which needs to be verified. So those questions which has been verified or the process which we need to verify will become a checkpoints. But sometimes what would happen with the nature of the what audits we do or the assessment we do, there are chances that same set of question needs to be revisited at a multiple sample level. Like for example, we would be doing a asset audit, or we would be doing, maybe if there is an HR process, if there are any onboarding for the what review period we would be looking, we would want to see the process. So there sample would be multiple in number, it is more than one number, where we need to verify the same set of question at each of the sample level. So in those cases, we would always prefer to have annexure. So let me all show you how how an annexure is created. I'll come to Audit 360 login. Let me log in as a super admin who has access for creation of annexure and checkpoint. Now, if you have seen in the checkpoint, we can create all the checkpoint, but whereas in annexure, there is one step additional which we have to do before creating the checkpoint, annexure checkpoints. So what is the additional process which we have to do is adding annexure columns to the checkpoint, which needs to be mapped during checkpoint creation. So why do we do this process? So if most of the time you all would be thinking that why annexure has to be defined separately, where individual items to be listed, why do we have to keep an annexure as a separate sub audit and link it to the parent audit? So usually what happens in the annexure is, like how I said, the same set of checkpoints would be verified at a different sample level. Similarly, an sample will also have a reference data which has to be provided to the auditor to verify or to support for the audit or the verification he would be doing on the audit execution time. So in that case, it is very much important for a system to know that which group of information or which group of information of checkpoint would have what in type of information will be passed through, so that there is a clear information which get passed through each of the annexure to the auditor. So in any of your audit type, if you see, you would have multiple such sample cases being there. So it is very much important that we group them separately and all the relevant information is being passed through that, and because that the set of checkpoints or the set of information which flows can be unique compared to each and every sample audits we would be doing. So in annexure, it is not mandatory. We always have sample here, but let me just start with having the annexure column created. So now let me take one use case of asset verification. So there will be a physical asset in what are the branch audits you would do. So let us see how do we create a asset verification, which is physical asset verification. So in the super admin module, we come to annexure and the add annexure. When I'm doing a new annexure creation, I click on add new annexure. I have to give a name of the annexure which I am trying to add here. I'm giving as physical asset. Just for my reference, I am keeping this as September. So here if you see, there are two type of annexure, dynamic and static. What are those are? In a case of physical asset as an example which we are verifying, in a physical asset, this asset, the sample which we are always verify during the audit execution will be constant. So when I talk about physical asset, I would be checking the number of chairs or the table, whatever the asset which has been kept as part of the branch, maybe a notice board, all that. Those are always a constant. It never changes. Even if there is a change, it would be a very minor change, or it would get an addition or a deletion into the list. So the sample what we verify in the annexure would always be statics. In those cases, it bases the use case, we have to choose what type of annexure we are doing in the static. Now, if there are any samples which needs to be verified where the sample keeps on changing. So in physical asset, it is constant. This asset would be placed in the branch and it will always be the same. There would be no change in the sample happening on every schedule we do. But in the certain use cases, there are highly chances, like for example, you would be doing a last disbursement cases verification or a petty cash voucher verification. So all this would have a period for which you would be verifying. Those samples only has to be picked, and every time we schedule the audit, the samples keep changing. So in those cases, we always choose as dynamic. So dynamic means that the sample would be not static, and there is a chances that it keeps changing. So I need to give a particular review period for it to be added to it. Now I have created, I'm doing a physical asset, which according to our use case is a static. I've chosen static here. So you have to just give a list of columns, you would get an information. So you would get asset name, then you whatever columns we have. So in asset, what would we have is, we would have physical count, which I would need to verify. So I choose here, it can be input or verify. When I verify this, I would also want to check the condition of the asset which I'm checking. So I'm keeping this as input. So when I'm creating a column, I also need to identify, I also have to tag, which would be a primary identifier. That is reason why is because when we are doing an annexure definition, we also have to inform the system that what would be a common factor which would be used as a sample when we are doing audit execution. So in physical assets time, either the asset ID or the name of the asset would always be a primary identifier basis which the verification would be done. In case of a used case of loan document or in some vouchers, and in that case, the maybe the receipt number, the voucher number, or the loan application number, account number, those can become a primary identifier. As a default, the first column would be chosen as primary identifier. If you would want to choose the different column, you can always click on the arrow here and choose the relevant column. Now there is also one more configuration, which is configure reason. So when we have doing the audit, when the sample are being passed through Audit 360, there are two chances an auditor would have to do. Either he has to do 100% of the audit or a sample based audit. But over and above that, sometimes what would happen is we have a list of sample which is been shared during our schedule. But however, there are some samples which are not physically found when we are doing verification. So even for the samples which are physically not found, there should be an indication where we click as not found, but we should also know what would be a possibility of reason why this particular sample or the primary identifier we are verifying is missing. So in those cases, if you have a certain already a steady remark so that the auditor does not keep on entering the remarks, a standard uh, configuration reason can be given. So when we are doing a physical asset, let us give a configuration reason like asset not found. Then I can give as, I can mention that as send for rectification. Any such identification can be mentioned here. So whatever the reason, this reason would be listed for an auditor for him to choose a reason. Over and above, if there are any other reason, there will be option for auditor to click on others and capture the information. Now let us save this. So let me also just quickly create and one more annexure column for dynamic. I'm just giving this for voucher. And I'm choosing this as dynamic so that I can show you how an information can be uploaded here. So I give here as voucher number. What I need to verify is the verification, which I need to verify. I also want to see authorized person signature. I'm adding few more reasons. Number does not exist. I'm also telling voucher number is not used. Or I can tell that voucher copy is missing. So I've just created few. I'm just clicking on. So now we have created the list of columns which we would need to have as part of annexure. Now let us start creating checkpoints. So here I would even cover the checkpoint module. So I come to manage checkpoints. So whenever you have to start creating a checkpoint, first we should choose a group type. So group type, here we have two type of groups. One is general group and an annexure group. General group, like I said, where you have a set of questions which you would be generally been configuring, and part of it as part of process you verify them. But when you talk about annexure, in annexure, it will always look for a column mapping as well as a reference data to be part of the execution time. So for now, let me create an annexure group. Whenever you choose an annexure group, the annexure column, what you have clicked, has to be mapped here so that the system knows that we have a relevant information which needs to be passed. Otherwise, we would not be able to pass a relevant information to the schedule wise when we are shared it to the auditor. Then the scoring logic. So here there are three type of scoring logic. What are we defining here is any group you select at a group level, we are choosing what should be a NA scoring logic to be followed. So NA is not, if there are any checkpoint which has been tagged as not applicable. So if should we have what type of a scoring logic to be mentioned here. There are three types of scoring logic. One is redistribution logic. So redistribution logic means, so when if there are in set of checkpoints which is there under the group, if we have for example 5 checkpoints which contributes 2 scores each, in that case when you have chosen a redistribution logic, if any one or more the checkpoints are marked as NA, in that case, the specific checkpoint score which has been tagged as NA gets redistributed among other checkpoints, and then the compliance verification would be there, so that the total score of the group or the auditee doesn't get impacted even when there is a not applicable case. Now in redistribution, there is one scenario which can think of is there would be a very rare possibility that complete group checkpoints become not applicable. In those cases, in redistribution logic, what would happen is if all the checkpoints under the group is marked as NA, then the group score, what has been defined as the audit score, which is your total score, gets deducted from the denominator score of the total score, so that the compliance percentage doesn't get impacted, because there are checkpoint which is not applicable for an auditee, we cannot get them penalized. So if they would want to choose this as a logic, the redistribution logic can be taken. Then next, if we have logic is percentage of positive. What is percentage of positive? Is at a checkpoint level, if you can set, if there is any NA, whatever is the S score on that score, you can set a percentage to be given. If my score is 2 and I can set a percentage of 50%, so as a beneficial, I will give that percentage of score. So rather than giving a complete score, we would like to give some amount of score to the client, to the customers or your auditee, whoever would be your auditee for the execution, they would get benefited on the score. So basis the percentage, when it is 50%, then the one score would be given to the auditor. So you can set whatever the percentage, it can be 75, 80% of whatever is the actual checkpoint positive score, which is your complied score, will be applied here. Then we have a third scoring logic, which is called as fixed score. Fixed score is you can set whatever score you would want to give if it is not applicable. But one change over here is if it is not applicable, if it is not applicable, the score of the not applicable should never be higher than the S score. That's a business rule which we have set here. So these are the three types of scoring logic for NA. For now, just let me take a fixed score, and I'm adding a group name here. I give it as voucher. Next. I just click on add. A group has got created. So once your group is created, the group name and the timestamp will be mentioned here. If you just want to add more checkpoints, let us start now adding the checkpoint here. You click on add checkpoints. So moment when you click on add checkpoint, you get a checkpoint screen. So what does a checkpoint screen mean? Will have is any parameter which is to be part of your audit execution when auditor has to verify, all the parameters would be mentioned in the checkpoint screen here. The group name, because we are already reflecting in the group name with this voucher annexure would be there. It will always be an active enabled. And then there is a checkpoint intent. Checkpoint intent is nothing but whatever the check we are doing, where we'll be giving a short name as an indicator for an auditor to know what is that we have been checking here. So for example, here, I would be giving the amount as the intent, and I will mention the description as check if the amount mentioned in the reference data is matching with the physical copy. So this is my checkpoint which I have defined here. Now because this is an annexure, it is mandatory for me to map the annexure column. If it is a general group, this section would not be mandatory. So now because I'm doing amount verification, I am mapping the annexure column. So what would happen when I do this mapping is a checkpoint gets mapped to an annexure column. And when we are uploading some reference data to this voucher annexure, the relevant information, which is if, for example, I'm uploading some amount to be verified as a reference data, the amount value would be shown on screen of an auditor for him to do an audit. So it gives an easy reference to verify if the amount what they have in the on screen as well as on the physical copy, it is for them to take a call whether it is matching or not. Otherwise, you should have would prefer to have a list of maybe an Excel or another copy in the paper verification we would need. But in this form, the relevant information when it is being mapped will be tagged to a checkpoint and the information would be seen by the auditor on screen. So, and moment, if you have seen, the moment we have taken the column as amount verification, in a column we had chosen verify, so the verify screen would appear here. So before that, let me just tell you what is expected action from auditor. So here we have 4 type of expected action by auditor. So first is verify. Verify is generally to cross check if whatever the process being set or the description being given, to see if it is being followed or not, which will ideally be yes, no, partial or not applicable. In only in that action, so we would choose verify. So then you would, in certain cases, what would happen is not all your checkpoints would always be answered as yes or no. So there would be some information which needs to be captured. So if there is, for example, there you would want to know what is the validity of an agreement. So there it is for an auditor to capture some information rather than checking there. So in those cases, he can choose an input. So what would happen when you choose this verify, input, or any other expected action is, during an audit execution for an auditor, it is very easy for him to know whether he needs to collect an information, whether he needs to verify, whether he has to do both. That way, it would be very seamless audit for auditor. So it is very important for us to keep the expected action from auditor which relevant to the checkpoint, so that we can get the exact information from the auditor without any miss. Then we have something called both. So in both, what would happen is, here you would have both verify and input. So when you're giving an action, you are making an auditor to even verify whether there is a process being followed, or also parallelly you're asking him to collect some information and be part of this in when he's executing the audit. Now we have fourth expected action, which is both with condition. What is both with condition is, here we are capturing, we will be similarly like both, we will be capturing the whether it is verified and even in fact the input, but will be capturing the input basis a condition. So you can set a condition whether the input has to be captured if it is only yes or if it is only no, and what type of information to be captured can be configured in both with condition. So now let me first generally do, or let me just take both with condition. In both with condition, I'm giving verify. So I will tell, if it is verified, you give them 2 marks. If it is not, we give 0 marks. And we have something called partial and NA. So partial and NA are part of the checkpoint parameters, but it is for basis the checkpoint we configure. Not all checkpoint would need partial or would need N not applicable. So in those cases, it is configurable if you feel the amount value mismatch is a straightforward where it is only yes or no. Partial chances are very less. If there is no partial relevance required, you can just uncheck this partial. So this parameter is not part of audit execution. Similarly, not applicable. So when there is an amount which has been verified, not applicable scenarios are very less, or the certain parameters in many checkpoints you do, not applicable may apply or may not apply. Even in that case, we can choose whether we would like to keep NA or not. So for default, yes or no will be there. Partial and NA are a optional item, and the default it would be checked in. If you're not required, if it doesn't require any action here, you can just uncheck them, so that these parameters or the compliance part are not there for an auditor, so that he doesn't take any incorrect information passed. So now I've taken yes or no, I've given a score. We have something called disposition. What is disposition is, there in every compliance or any audits you check, basis the observation, we always ask auditor to give remarks. For auditor to write remarks, it is what would happen is, most of the time every auditor would write their own remarks. Every remarks would have its own style of remarks. It would have a different way of expression and all. For any central resource or for someone who has to do an analysis, would be very difficult for them to collate it, standardize it, and then look at the report. To overcome that, we have introduced something called disposition. In disposition, we can give a standardized issue expected in this particular checkpoint or as they drop down, So when we enter here, for an auditor, it is just a choice to be made when he's executing the audit, and he saves his time in typing that. And also the central resource, it saves time for them to cross verify, consolidate and standardize it. This would also help in getting the very ready reference report immediately. So in this case, when it is a self-explanatory, the disposition is not mandatory, and it hence may not give as a mandatory, or if you would like to give, you can give it. Otherwise, for yes, it is not mandatory. For no, because it is an issue, we would want to know what type of an issue it is. So I would just tell amount mismatch. This is one possibility. The second possibility is cancelled voucher. So here there is a chances it should not be having any amount there, or it should not part of your verification. So now when we are talking about a both with condition, I would want to capture if there is any difference or if there is a mismatch in the amount which we verify, what is the amount which is there on the voucher here. So I will choose the input as number because I'm capturing the amount value. So in input, if you see, there are multiple input values. So number, where it would capture only number. If you take text, you are capturing some information which is just an sentence wise. You can choose as text. You have both the text and number as an option. Then if there is any agreement date in such cases, you can choose the date. You can also have a date range. If you were checking for some validity for what period to what period, you can always choose date range. Then we have percentage and values. Values is actually when you know what an expected as a result between some of the option, you can choose as values. For example, you are checking a branch ambience where you would want to know whether it is good or bad. So in that case, it is always for us to make a choice between what is an expected action. So in that case, you can choose value. For now, in the current configuration, because I want to capture the amount, I'm capturing the number. Now let me just choose the risk value. So in risk level, basis the checkpoint we are configuration and what is an impact of those process which we are verifying, we can set the risk level. We have 4 type of risk level. One is high, medium, low, and zero tolerance. Zero tolerance is one above the high, which is usually we call it sometimes as critical, or it can be a non-tolerant process if it has been deviated. In those cases, we are opting for non-tolerance, sorry, zero tolerance. So in this case, because we are looking at the amount mismatch and the amount is at a high impacted checkpoint, we choose this as zero tolerance. Now you have one more section called notes to auditor. So this notes to auditor is a placeholder where you can set instruction for an auditor on how this particular checkpoints can be verified. So here you can have a very long text which gives complete whatever the in notes which is to be referred or the instruction how we need to be checked. So it has become a ready reference for an auditor, and he need not keep calling if it is a new guy or someone. He need not keep calling his senior and keep cross questioning them. How do I do this? Do I have this? All that can be managed here. So let me put some notes here. I had just copied the same thing and told them it copy. If there is any difference, I'm also telling them capture the exact value in the input field. You can also set some more instructions like vouchers should be valid and should not be cancelled. I can set such all the instructions here. So this becomes as a reference for an auditor during his execution. Now, once all your parameter is done, if you have done, if you whatever the multiple checkpoints you have to do, you have done, you will click on submit, or you will, if you want to add few more checkpoints, you click on submit and create new. When you click on submit and create new, within the same group, they checkpoints would get added. So let me just quickly add one more checkpoint. Another was the authorization signature. I put it as signature. Check if authorized person has signed. So here also I have given as verify because I just need yes or no. I don't need a partial or any. Now, if you see, there is one more tab which I missed in the previous configuration, which default will be positive conformity. So now what is positive conformity? So here what we are doing, we are defining is we are keeping the positive conformity as yes, which says that any checkpoints which has been followed is when an auditor clicks as yes, it means that they have confirmed and they're into the positive conformity, and anything which is clicked as no becomes an issue because your question is straightforward. But certain times what happens, the checkpoint defined itself is a negative question. In such cases, when you click as yes, becomes an issue. For example, I would be checking that, see if in the similar case, I would tell that authorized person has not signed the voucher. This is a, if I tell yes, it becomes an issue. If it tells no, it will not become an issue. So if when in that case, you can choose the positive conformity as no. So moment you choose a positive conformity as no, so no becomes as actually as complied, and if it is clicked as yes, it becomes the issue here. So here if I give, for example, let me give an incorrect value and show you. I'll give yes as 1 and I give as 0. Then I am giving the disposition as right. High for priced signatures. When I click on submit, it says no should have a higher score because here we have changed the positive conformity. So here what we have done is if we have given lesser score for the followed one, then obviously there would be a validation which gets run. So I change this to 0 and I give it as 1 and now submitted. So now I've created a checkpoints. There are 2 checkpoints which I have created. All the checkpoints would be listed here. You can, if you would want to view the checkpoints, you just click on this checkpoint and see all the configuration we have made. And because we have not yet assigned to any audit type, you can even edit this checkpoint. Nilesh, is there any questions which I need to address? Is there any queries which has come up?
No, so far no questions, Ramya.
Okay, then I'll move ahead. So now I have shown you all how an annexure column is created and then how a checkpoints is get created. So all the parameters of checkpoints are now. Let me just quickly add all this checkpoint to one parent audit and show you how an annexure can be document can be uploaded as a reference data. So I come here, I'll just, in annexure, usually whenever there is an annexure, we should always create a sub audit and then map it to the parent audit. The reason why we also do is like I explained in the previous configure audit webinar session. See, every annexure would be treated as one more separate small audit, which is a child audit, because all the samples are also considered as an auditee. So that's the reason why, and it also has its own reference data and a checkpoint which gets mentioned. The sub-audit creation is important. So let us create, make it as voucher. And I'm doing a branch audit, so I choose as auditee type as a branch. Now, because I'm doing a sub-audit creation, I am not choosing the parent audit selection. I will be in the group. Under the group, I take annexure. So whatever audit we have now created would be listed here. I choose the annexure. If you see the 2 checkpoints which I have created, I have amount and a signature mentioned. The scores also are being mentioned here. And if you would want to set a sequence that amount should come first or signature should come first, or if it is a default, we can just go with the sequence here. If there is no sequence to be set, there you can just leave that blank. Now you can click on submit. Now the sub audit has been created as a voucher. Let me add this to the parent audit. Add it as webinar. So we know that this is the audit which we have to choose. Next, I'm creating a parent audit. So when I click on parent audit, if you are doing it with the set of general group, you take the group. Now because we are doing an annexure based and which using the sub audit which we have created, we click on sub audit to choose the audit which we would want to take up. I've taken sub voucher was the one which I created. If you see the same checkpoints are listed here, then I move forward in the risk scoring. I give here as to whatever is your weightage, you can just set the weightage. Cancel. And I come to the configuration screen. Here, if you see, you have annexure. There is, whenever you add an annexure, there will be two configure query questions which should be added into this list. One is, do you need annexure score? So the reason why we are asking this is, whenever there is an annexure which is being followed, certain times it would be a blank which field where you would be adding the just as a reference data, and certain times you would be verifying it. If you want the scores of the annexure what we are creating to be part of our audit report calculation, which is score calculation, then we need to enable to the score here. If you do not want the annexure score to be part of your total score, you need not select this annexure score. But when you choose an annexure score here, so basis whatever the verification you do, the scores, the average score would be computed and added as the achieved score, and the rating would be displayed. Next is, do you need annexure sampling? So annexure sampling, like I said, there are two type of sampling which usually it happens. One is the 100%. So in 100%, if you do not choose this option, so any, whatever the primary identifier or the audit sub-auditees we have uploaded, all those samples has to be mandatorily followed. The system would have that validation set that each and every samples has to be verified. But when you click on, do you need annexure sampling, we are allowing the system to tell that we would do only sample, random samples, we would pick it up. As such, in our system, we have not kept any validation or a logic for the sampling. It would be a random sample allowed, and once the random sample has been executed, the auditor can just click with the one click button, he can just click on rest of the sub-audits will be not executed. So these are part of configuration. Then let me just quickly configure this so that I can show you the upload. I don't have any reminders. You have something called frequency. So whenever there is an annexure, you can even set a frequency. When there then is a dynamic or data, whatever is your frequency of upload, which is your, when you are doing a monthly schedule, you would be uploading the data monthly once, or if it's a quarterly, you would be sharing a quarterly. So that frequency can be set here. So I would be doing a monthly schedule. So the frequency for a dynamic annexure we have created will be monthly. Then I just go next. The total score is created. Let me just add the rating. And then just leave it as normal. Now created as submit. So I've created an audit type. Now let me come to annexure document. So one business rule we have here is any audits which the audit configuration we have done. So if there are any reference data, when it is, for example, in a dynamic we have chosen in our current thing, when it is a dynamic, it is mandatory that the samples has to be shared as part of the schedule. So whenever there is a schedule which has been created, the system checks for a validation if the data has been uploaded for the said auditee. So hence it is important that we upload the annexure document before we schedule the audit. Otherwise, we will not be able to schedule, and rather the information also would not be passed to the auditor for them to execute the audit. Nilesh, is there any queries for me to take up before I move ahead with the upload of annexure?
Yes, Ramya, there is one question. They have said that can you please explain a bit more on the sampling feature?
Okay. So sampling currently what we have in system is very simple. We are only just allowing the super admin to make a choice whether you would want an under 100% sampling to be done, or you would want to allow sampling when you're doing execution. In the current configuration, what we have is when moment you choose as sampling, there is no logic as such being applied on or been applied on your sampling selection. Whatever the upload of information you do, for example, if I have uploaded some 10 loan originated application numbers, all those 10, out of the 10, we only allow auditors to do a random sampling for him to execute, and we are not setting any number as such, or we are not doing any sampling criteria. We are only allowing the auditor just to do a pick from whatever the list we have shared and execute the audit. And the ones which is not willing to execute, which is not part of any execution he would want to do during his execution, can be eliminated and moved forward. That's a simple logic currently we have. But if there is any specific logic to be followed, then you can get in touch with the respective relationship managers for your such unique requirements. Yeah, anything more, Nilesh?
No, Ramya.
Okay, so I'm moving ahead with the upload of annexure. Now, what would happen in upload of annexure is when there is a static audit type being, static annexure type being configured, we have to do one-time upload of the information where the same sample on every schedule will be used up. But an annexure document upload is mandatory for schedule. But when it has come to dynamic, we have to have a date range in which we have to upload the data. So let me show you how we can upload the annexure. I click on upload annexure. You choose for which audit type you would want to do the upload here. So I've done the chosen the voucher webinar, and I have one sub-audit. So whichever, if you see when you have multiple sub-audits, like for example, you're doing a branch audit, you would do a voucher verification, you would even do asset verification, you would also do some field related customer visits, all those which has been created as a sub-audits in the configure audit type will be listed here. You may have to choose each and every or sub-audit type and do a relevant data upload, because each of the information would be unique and cannot be clubbed in one Excel or one upload which we do. Like for example, an asset of asset, when I'm checking a asset verification, the what is the volume it is got, what is the asset ID, all that is part of the asset file. I cannot club an asset file with the customer data and do a upload, because this way the information passing is also difficult. Hence, it is important for us to do a sub-audit level upload. I've chosen sub-audit here, and if you see, I am giving the annexure which is being part of it, and default it is taken dynamic basis the configuration we have taken. So whenever there is a dynamic, we need to choose the date range. Here what would happen is the date range what we choose will be that the base, whatever the date range we choose, within that the reference data will be pulled and shown to the auditor. Now, for example, I would be doing a schedule of audit for the month of October and November. So, and whatever this reference data I upload in the annexure document should be used for the audits which are getting scheduled for October and November. In that case, your date range would be starting from October. I'm just choosing now for today's date because for me to show a demo, but ideally if it will be for 1st of October. I'm doing 21st to October month audit. If I'm doing, it will be 31st of May. So this basis this date range, it would be very clear for system to pick this information, because what would happen when you're doing the schedule a reference data upload for the month of November audits, in that case you would be choosing from the November 1st to November 31st. So it is basis this date range, the relevant data would be pulled and shown to the auditor for verification. Now I've set the date range. Now I have to upload the data. I don't know in what format I have to upload. In that case, you need not worry. You can just click here. When you click on you download the template here. So whatever the columns you have created, the template would get created here. Once you open this, let me just open. So whatever the columns we had created, they would be listed here, as well as there is one more additional column as oddity code. Why do we have oddity code? Now, what would happen is when it is dynamic, which has a date range, when the data keeps changing. Similarly, even the samples of each of the oddity would also change. So the information of voucher number which I have to verify for branch 1 would always be different from branch 2. So it is very important for us to give that branch code mapping so that we can only give that information rather giving complete pan India or complete the whatever the business related voucher we have been cut for all the branches to or the auditors across. So it is important we map the only relevant vouchers to the relevant branches so that when the schedule is being done, basis the auditee what you choose, only those vouchers numbers would be displayed for auditor for execution. I give the voucher number as WB1001, then WB1002. Like that I can give whatever the number we would need to give, and the amount according to us which is being verified would be something which I'm just giving a random here. I don't need, I don't know who the authorized person. If I knew, I can just mention that HOD I'm just mentioning, or I can leave it blank also. Now oddity code, I have a oddity which has already been uploaded. So I enter that. This is one of the code which I can recollect. So once you do this, just save this, whichever location you would want to keep it. Save this. Just close. Then what I do is I come to this section, which is choose file. I select the annexure template which I have created. Click on open. And I submit it. So you have something called history also here. So history would be when it is dynamic, all the series of upload can be verified here. And there is an error data in case when we upload this, and if there is some validation which has been done and the error file is done, all those corrections can be uploaded in the error data. So I just click on submit. Try one data. When I click here, the file is being processed. Whatever I've uploaded, the file is there, the timestamp, and it is processed. If there is any error which I have uploaded, if the error document, there would be a link which gives an Excel with error. We can do the corrections and re-upload it. If there are no error, then this column error doc would be blank, and this always the status should be processed. So now the status is processed. Let me just schedule one audit. Let me come to the schedule audit. I take voucher audit which I have executed, branch, and scheduling. If I have a review period to be updated, I can. Let me choose as. If you see, there is an error which occurred, which is annexure document not mapped to the auditee. That is reason why is I had put an auditee code which is BR0019, which was for Evershine Nagar. But here when I tried doing a schedule, I did for a different auditee because there was no reference data and there's no annexure uploaded. The audits is not getting schedule, because the whatever the configure audit I have done is only to verify the voucher, and if I have not have any vouchers to be verified, then there is no use for us to schedule the audit. So let me do a correct schedule here. I'll do the same audit. I'm choosing again Mumbai, and as I told, it was for Evershine Nagar. I'm scheduling for the same date. Right, save. If you see, my schedule has been successfully created. So I can show the schedule. The schedule has been created. So the data what I've uploaded was for the Evershine Nagar. Now let me go to the auditor role and show how the annexure or the checkpoint would appear while execution. I will be showing you on the web screen. I'll switch to the role. So this is an auditor screen where the schedule has been displayed. There is a schedule which has been scheduled on my name. I accept the audit. Now, so start the audit. So I have a sub audit as sub voucher. Now when I go inside, if you could see, there are list of sub audits which I had uploaded, these are the samples which we need to verify. Every sample you choose, the same set of checkpoints would be appearing. So if in case any of your sub audit with the samples which is not found, then you click on not found. Then the system would ask the reason for it. And if you remember, when I was creating the annexure column, all the reasons for not found I had listed, and this would be listed here. This would it'll be easy for an auditor to choose from out of the list being given. If there is anything over and other that, he'll click on other and he can mention. Now I'll just mention that voucher copy is missing, and I submit it. Now I will take up one more sample here. I'll just start and normal execution. So if you see here, I am doing the amount verification where my checkpoint intent is here. The description is mentioned as check if the check amount has been shown. Now you could see something called as custom value. So whatever the data I uploaded as a reference data in annexure document upload, that will be seen here for a respective checkpoint for the specific sample. So that is why we map the annexure column to the checkpoint so that this information can be pulled and shown. So now if I am an auditor, I know this is a 15,000 is the amount to be verified. I'll pick the physical copy and map if it is correct or not. If it is correct, I click on yes. If it is not correct, I will click as no. So when I had one more condition which we had put there. So if you see here, I'll first show you when I click on yes, I will just be able to move next. But when I had put a condition that whenever there is an amount verification done, I had put as both with condition that stating that only if it is no, the input has to be captured. So I click on no. If you see, the input value as shown. So when I tell, okay, the amount is not correct, then I mention it is 15,500. So I put the information. So basis the condition which has been applied, the auditor screen would be displayed and he need not bother on what needs to be the next. He can seamlessly keep doing the audit. So that's why a checkpoint or an annexure creation is very important activity in Audit 360. And I will also to choose the disposition. I will mention that amount mismatch and I click on next. So here I had not given any authorized signature, it was blank, so the value is not shown here. So it would have all the information. Now, if you could see, there is one more item called auditor notes. So here, when you click on auditor notes, the information, whatever we had mentioned as a part of notes would be displayed here. I will show you here in this screen, the check if the amount mentioned in the reference data, whatever the information we had. So you can give as elaborative notes here because we have enough space and it's easy for auditor to go through and check this relevant checkpoint. Click as OK, and this set. checkpoint where the signature part we are doing. So signature is mapping. I just finish yes, and I finish this one sample here. Sorry. Okay. Now I have one more, or in during the execution, I found that there was one more sample which was not part of our sampling list, but it was there in physically in the date range which we are doing. In that case, you can click on add PI and mention something as new one. Whatever is your voucher number, you mention there, and you click on save, and you can start verifying it. And if you see here, same set of questions would be displayed even for the new samples you verify. Only thing is the custom value would be blank because this information is not passed through the annexure, and the checkpoint will not have this information. I'll just click as, and it should have another field, but for now I'm just clicking as yes. No, and finish. So now we have one more sample. Similarly, you can imagine there are some 10-15 sample which is yet to be executed. In this particular configuration, we had chosen annexure sampling. So whenever the annexure sampling is there, where we are not doing 100% audit, in that 100% sample check, in that case, if it is sampling, there will be a option called mark pending PIS not executed. So whatever the number of samples which you have not verified, in one click of button, you can mark it as we are not executing it. You need not click on not found or any specific reason for it, because we are only doing sample based. I click on mark PIS not executed. So if you see, I have taken one PI which is in not executed, one which is two are being completed. It shows a complete information, and then the pending one is which will be is not found. So once you are done with it, you finish the audit. So this is about the annexure and checkpoint module. Is there any queries which you would want us to take? We will just wait for some of the participants to share your question. You can ask if there are any queries here. I think there are no queries. I hope whatever the webinar we gave was useful to you all. If there are further, if you get any queries, you can get in touch with our help desk ID or support ID. You have Amaya where you can check all these queries which is coming up. And if there are any specific requirement you would want to discuss with us, please get in touch with the relationship managers. We would always be there to support you all. So I would thank each and everyone to be part of this webinar, who made time to come and attend this. Thank you all. So let's meet in the next webinar session. See you all soon. Thank you. We'll be ending this webinar. Thank you all. We'll be sharing a feedback form. Please fill this feedback form and help us to improve more better.